Hello, hello, hello. So we are live with Open CDC Mock 4 and Mock 4 analysis. So we have Ravi sir, Jijo sir and mock comment देख के लग रहा है कि everyone is disappointed with QA. So Ravi has taken the QA attempt. So Ravi will give you idea about it. And definitely DILR was the easiest one. So let's go through the data and understand what is happening. So this is the data. We have seen it multiple times, CAT 20, 21, 22. Now this is what it says. So 99.5 is actually at 112. That's one of the easiest mocks if you look at Open CDCs. So it is on the easier side, 2024. It is similar to 2024 only. Now, this is something that is important. In QA, everyone is crying, but 99.5 is at 39, 99 at 35. So DILR is very easy, 38, 36. And the best part is VARC Jijo sir, itna aasan 52 is like that's uh, uh, confidence boost लोगों का. Okay, this is something that happened. And we have one more thing, that is this home versus center. And if I'll tell you, look at this. This is what I found surprising. At home, people scored actually lesser in DILR. In center, they scored higher. And in QA, it's opposite. And this is disastrous. So this is actually happened from home to center. रवि जीपी सर, आप लोग का क्या ओपिनियन है इस पे कि सेंटर पे जो लोग गए उन्होंने डीआईएलआर में तो खराब कर लिया, और क्यों है उनका जिन्होंने घर से दिया उनका डीआईएलआर खराब हो गया और क्यों है मैं अच्छा कर लिया. So
I took the quant paper at home. I found it difficult. So maybe my day and I found that quant this paper 10 questions to 12 questions would have been a very good attempt, is what I felt in the exam, because I could see there are questions of logs, but I could see there are questions of log में भी आपको थोड़ा मेहनत definitely करना है. There was a question of functions. I know it has to be worked through patterns. I have to find f of 2, maybe f of 1 or something like that. But it was lengthy again. Even the questions of profit loss or the questions of mixtures were not that straightforward. So the questions that we are generally used to be a little straightforward were not straightforward. But while yes, there were about only there were sitters in the paper, but the number of sitters as compared to what you expect around 8 to 9 easy questions in the quant section, 6 to 8 in the worst case, but I found only 5 to 6 those such questions which were made for everyone in this paper. So in that sense, the data that the center is showing for the center people who have taken the test at the center for QA, I'm absolutely with it. Though I'm a little surprised, honestly, though say DILR was not difficult, but still after looking at the entire paper, I felt that someone normally taking the students' behavior into consideration, not leaving set 5 after 2 questions, not leaving set 3 after a couple of questions, could have happened, and as a result 33 should be the 99th percentile is what I thought. But I think the data is suggestive otherwise. But I think quant was one of the difficult papers among the last 4 tests, at least, what I can say.
Somebody got 72 out of 72 in VRC.
Yes.
From home. कौन है यार? That's not bad.
मेरे तो सेंटर पे 66 भी हाई लग रहा है.
Yeah. So the VRC was.
I attempted the paper at home. I could not complete the paper, but I will say that's possibly because I am a little out of touch with respect to paper taking. Okay? But I would not say it was a difficult paper. In fact, I think in the verbal section, I think I attempted 7 out of 8, and in the last passage, or rather the first passage, I could not complete the passage. Left about two or three questions. I don't remember how many. So paper was definitely something which one could complete. But frankly, I'm pleasantly surprised with the score of 66 at the center. Home scores में हमेशा discount करता हूँ. There's not to say that the person who got 72 is not up to the mark, or he or she has done some hanky panky. That's not what I'm saying. But whenever it's a paper at home, you tend to be a little more comfortable, and known environment, you tend to give yourself some extra leeway. That's why I would always discount a home score. But to me, center score of 66 is a terrific score. Even the median score of 42 is a fairly good score. 99 percentile. No, 99 is at 52. Okay. 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 No?
शिवको सर, आपका क्वांट में क्या ओपिनियन है?
क्वांट में मेरे ख्याल से ठीक है. मैं 99.5. We did think it was going to be a little tough, right? And so I'm not very surprised, because if you remember, I mean, at the end of once we decided this is going to be the paper, we figured out that there are six odd questions that everybody should be able to do, and probably about four or five of them which are moderate level, and the rest of the thing is, I think we thought that only the really comfortable people in quant would be able to do it. So I'm quite I wouldn't satisfied is the wrong word, but I guess this is exactly what I had anticipated. Whereas DILR on the contrary, I think it is at least 3 to 4 marks more than what I thought it would be the scores.
Chivko, if you look at CAT over the last 3-4 years, it has been given these kind of questions which make you put in a little extra effort. Even the known or the topics as such which always come, like time and work, ratios, etc. It makes you to put some extra effort. As Ravi was saying, those long questions were there, but you had to do some extra work. That pattern question of F2n plus 1 wala sawal jo tha, again making you do some extra work. So I would say it was in line with the CAT paper of last 3-4 years. DI, I felt this was a paper which was somewhere between slightly more difficult than CAT 24, but definitely easier than CAT 22 and 23. In this paper, to me, 3.5, maybe 4 sets was what could look at. And though I would not say कि 5 sets होने चाहिए थे, I don't think. Though someone has done at home 63 marks, so I would presume he has or she has done all 5 sets and maybe left a couple of questions here or there. But by and large, I would say this was a slightly more difficult paper as compared to CAT, both for Quant and DILR. And my feeling after the verbal section was that it was a slightly easier paper with respect to verbal. So overall, it should balance out. And the overall scores, when you look at that 99 percentile at 102, it is essentially verbal which is driving it up. And because it is verbal which always pushes the overall score from a percentile perspective. Quant and DILR, whether it is whatever you might say between the two of them, a 99 percentile would be something like a 60, 65, 70 marks. So if you're getting 65 between Quant and DI, I would say you are definitely above 99 in the combined thing, if not the individual sections. 60, 65 is a terrific score in Quant and DI by and large. Last year's paper was an exception. But there, I think Quant plus DI would be similar, but DI was higher. So paper ठीक था, अच्छा था, slightly more difficult Quant, DILR and Quant, and वो मेरे ख्याल से जरूरी इसलिए भी है because when you look at the actual paper, when you go for the actual paper, there's that extra pressure. Is that champions finals का cricket World Cup के finals का pressure है वो. So where you will definitely be able to not be able to perform to the highest possible level, then that exam pressure is going to pull your scores down a little bit. I think that's fine.
But what I'm surprised is at least 9 marks difference between the center and the home, especially for Quant. That looks a little steep.
That's 12 marks. That's 4 questions.
So
Yeah,
what is
12 marks. Then the
interesting
next one is 11, then 8,
what
so
is
on. Right.
what is
And no
interesting
difference in DILR.
to
Also quite
is
interesting.
No difference.
95th percentile. अगर आप you look at the difference between 95th and 99th in quant at home and at center, there's a
Yeah, the
difference
gap
of
is same.
versus 12, right? So I don't know what happened at home and what happened at center exactly. I don't know the reasoning behind it, but that's a. I mean, if the scores are increased at 99th percentile, if the scores are higher, we expect it to be higher at each level. But at the lower levels, if you look at 14 versus 18 at the 85th sectional cutoff percentile, it is one. It is a difference of one question at the 85th percentile. At
But
the
that
90th,
that is okay, na Ravi. I think for the guys who are doing a
As
little
you go
attempting
down,
more, the difference is likely to be more as you at the higher percentiles than the lower percentiles. If somebody is getting 16 or 18, the number of attempts are not going to change much.
yeah. But I
DILR is
think
very, very interesting.
But if this was actually the CAT paper, I would see that the center scores more or less match with what is likely to be the case.
yeah, in fact, GB and I were discussing in the afternoon about DILR, what each of us felt, and we both came to a consensus that we hadn't seen the data. We felt that okay, 33, 34 in DILR would be a very good score,
99.
99 plus kind of score. But both at center and home, people have outperformed our expectations, which is good
Yeah,
sign.
very good thing. So what we felt might have been traps weren't traps. What we felt students might not realize in terms of easy questions, they did realize. So I think good thing. And the most interesting part is 95 or 99 are exactly the same. 30, 30, 36, 36. So no center pressure in DILR for sure. Even
Is a
VARC, if you look at 95 percentile, 43, 42, no real difference. The difference starts at the 99 percentile level. 97 तक same है. 46, 45. 99 में you suddenly see that jump. There is that one additional question which probably students at home have gotten wrong. So 4-5 marks का difference वहाँ आ रहा है. And again at 99.5, the jump reduces. Very interesting data.
So it looks like some opinion poll of discussion of opinion polls for BR
Hello.
elections.
I was about to say exit polls.
So, let's get on to the paper.
but if you look at this, highest is more or less same. In DILR, highest is different.
वो highest को मेरे ख्याल से
Highest
वो
देखो
highest
मैं
को
कभी
मिलना चाहता हूँ मैं.
highest तो
63
मुझे
को मिलना
उससे
चाहता
कोई
हूँ
मतलब नहीं है
DILR
मुझे.
में.
the highest is always I will never worry about the highest as such because there will always be that one individual who's terrific in one or more areas and will get a very high score. So I will not really bother about highest. I would rather look at a 97 and 99 and 99.5 percentiles because to me these are the indicators which I would look at.
Okay, so let's start with verbal.
Can you
So,
push my presentation? I'll just use that.
yes, just give me a moment.
I have a little more data there.
Is it this one?
The same, that one, yeah. Yeah.
Alright.
Ah, it's there. Okay. So, so if I mean, if you in general look at the type of sources and the kind of passages and stuff, it'll be kind of very, very similar to what you expect in the CAT. There was one from journal, one from the encyclopedia of even geography, one from a couple of from economists, and the topic varies from this is about the geography to business to literature to kind of a little more in that. I don't know whether it's more in terms of philosophy. This one is about mad scientists, and you had sort of all set of questions and the sort of usual typical variation that you find with respect to the verbal. So at least from that point of view. Now this is distribution. So at the end of the day, if someone were to look at this particular score and say that 30 is amazing, at the end of the day, it is getting 10 questions correct net, right? So I believe there are typically three broad kind of students, and I think let me call it from a perspective evaluation of the 24 questions. There are those who are able to look at 4 RCs plus VA. Maybe not all the questions, but they evaluate all the questions. They're evaluating 24 questions. May not attempt all the 24, but evaluating the 24 questions. Then there is this 3 RCs plus VA, which probably evaluating about 20 questions. And they may attempt maybe about 18ish, 15ish, 17ish. And then there is the group of students who look at 2 RCs and some about a BA question. They are essentially looking at something like sort of 16 questions. If, let's say, in the paper, let's assume that they attempt these many questions. If I, for example, look at these set of students who are attempting 3 RCs and 8 BA questions, they are attempting worth 60 marks of questions. So it was at least kind of possible. I believe that this would be probably about definitely the top 25% of the test taker would be sort of at least in this category. So if I look at this 75th percentile, is still the top 25% of the test taker. This would be the number of students who probably would have evaluated, let's say, something close to at least about 18 questions plus, right? And then the score eventually boils down to how many of those questions turn out to be right and how many of questions turn out to be wrong. Okay, so that sort of is the first thing. It was obviously possible. So looking at something like a 45ish of that particular range here, the high score, you're looking at getting above, let's say, 15 plus questions correct. 15, 16, even 18 questions correct. Or obviously somebody's able to get very close to about 20, 21 questions correct, almost all the questions correct, right? Um, so this is the percentage accuracy versus attempt. And GP has looked at the paper, so we could look at this. I can. One of the things that is, if you look at individual passages, right? So the first passages, there are probably the opportunity for students to get 8 marks. Let's say even if they get this particular question correct, there's an opportunity to get about 8 marks. With also maybe similar. That's likely the case for the last passage. It is a third passage in HR which had a little bit of trouble. To sort of at least a little dangerous eventually turn out to be. And this particular passage depends upon how many you're able to sort of attempt. I'm basically picking something like a 6 marks, or maybe another 6 marks from here. So 8, 16 plus 12 is about, let's say it was possible to look at, if somebody's evaluating all the question, was looking at about 30 marks. One of the things that you have to understand, given the fact that this is 2 weeks left for the CAT, and if you're looking at our VRC and trying to make a change in terms of VRC, I think one of the things that I have realized, I think this is like talking to I was having this conversation. So I had given my phone number to the VRC 1000 students for them to call me and stuff. And what I realized in a lot of this conversation with the students is that everything is boiled down to RC issue. Right? They have put all the effort in terms of reading comprehension. Reading comprehension and VA is treated to be something like a bonus. If I have time towards the end, hua to hua, nahi hua to nahi hua. So what? So
sorry, Tito, just to interrupt.
uh,
I have when I attempted the paper, I have mentioned that also. And in general, I always start with verbal. Because to me, those 8 questions, you see, I may or may not understand an RC passage, but out of those 8 questions, I definitely understand those 4, 5. So the students who think that verbal is a bonus section, my suggestion is please don't treat it like that. Make sure you do attend the verbal question, at least those aspects of verbal that you're very comfortable with. For example, the para summary is nothing but a RC. At least do those 2 para summaries before you do anything else. Sorry, Joe, back to you.
Yeah. So for example, if let's say somebody, so if you look at each RC, let's take individual RC, right? There are these possibilities. If you attempt all the questions, these are the possibilities of scores. Getting all correct, getting 3 correct, getting 2 correct, getting 1 correct, and get nothing correct. So if I can kind of maintain an average of 8 marks per RC average, that I believe is pretty awesome. Anything above that is fantastic, and probably that would have happened for many of you in this specific test. RC is like 8 mark on an average. Now imagine somebody looking at 4 RCs. Imagine somebody looking at 3 RCs. Imagine somebody looking at 2 RCs. If let's say I can maintain 8 marks at an average, that is here, that will be probably getting close to about 32 marks. 3 RCs will be about 24 marks, and 2 RC will be about 16 marks. Right. So this is if I look at 3 RCs, and I'm looking at 12 questions, getting all 12 questions, that is 36 marks. Getting 9 out of 12 questions is 24 marks. 8 correct will make it 20. 7 correct will make it 16. You'll go -4 every wrong. So where you're likely going to land up in this particular case is somewhere in your late 18ish in usual mocks. Okay, here if 4 RCs, you're probably going to land up in the late 20s, 25ish in the usual good mock. That is going to be range. Those who be looking at 2 RCs, you'll see a lot of these 10, 12 is, and your job, you want. I think that what I've seen over the years, that people are looking at all the questions is actually looking at scores above 40s. This will be probably people looking at mid 30s score. That is their 3 RCs plus 2 VA. These are people are looking at about 25 kind of, or 25 to 30 kind of score. But none of this is gonna help you achieve the target. I think what is absolutely needed, at least about 12 marks from VA. अगर वो होता, this will take it about 44, this will take it about 36, and this one will take it about 28. And what I've seen over the years is that all the effort that we have done in the preparation is going back to RC, going back to RC. Now, if I look at RC, for example, let's look at, for example, the HR passage. It's something that everybody would have attempted. I'm sure that this particular passage about poetry and aphorism, you started reading the couple of sentences, you decided the last passage on Tobler's first law of geography. I think that if you read the first paragraph only, it's going to be a problem. So it's something that you attempted, right? So the few things are going to happen with respect to, you read the passage at the pace of your comprehension. Then you have this question on your screen. 2-3 things are going to happen. Number one, I'm absolutely certain answer choice is 3. Number 2 is, I feel answer choice is 3. I can't explain why it is 3, but I feel like it is 3. These two are still okay. I can still bet on it. And then there is a situation where I'm confused between 2 options. Because in my mind, BA doesn't exist. BA is always a bonus. I want to attack this question in the hope that by spending 2 minutes extra, I might get the 3 marks. And if you end up spending, let's say, in this particular passage, let's say you end up spending that extra 2 minutes on those 3 questions, that's like 6 minutes spent to get probably -3 marks. What is the point, right? You are for every single, you are attempting enough set of questions, right? And if I look at these set of students who are in this range of score between year to year, they had looked at enough set of questions. But the issue is that if you're confused with one particular question, why are you investing time in there? You can move on. And then look at, for example, the VA here. And I don't know, in the CAT, one of the problem that I see in VA or any VA question is you don't know which VA question is going to be easy or difficult. You have to look at every single question on the screen and make a decision. So here, for example, if you look at the sentence placement, this is very close to about 50% in terms of accuracy. So there was definitely a possibility of getting 9 marks from here. This VA, though I can actually see the attempt dropping down, it was definitely possible to get 9 marks. Here in this particular paper, both the odd centers were really painful. It may be the case, may not be the case. This is probably something that I'm sure that people should have got it right, but I don't know why people didn't. But okay, so you can also already see there is at least in this particular paper, 18 was surely a possibility. And if I add kind of 18 to this particular score here at 32, which is like somebody is able to maintain 8-mark average here, and you can actually see that is going to about 50 or 50 plus score above that. Even if, let's say, I'm attempting, let's say, 24 marks, even let's say I got about 18 marks here, which is from the 3 RC, or maybe about 24 marks. Here at least was possible, kind of getting about 22 marks. Adding that maybe about 18 would have pushed the score. So this, I believe, of this 29, this 31, this 34 would be about those set of students who are here in terms of their attempt here and got to that particular story. So therefore, my suggestion for all those of you, if you have, for example, ignored VA and kept it like a bonus, it is worth 24 marks. 24 marks is like too much. It's like 2 RCs worth of questions. And I'm not even saying that you should attempt first. DP says you attempt first. You attempt at any point in time. But I think when you see a question, if you get confused in one question, anywhere, it doesn't matter which one. If you're getting confused, the best thing to do is, okay, I don't want to fight this battle. I have enough questions. I'll keep moving on. So that sort of is a learning if you want to take away from here. that is actually possible for you to get the score that you want to get. It's very much possible, right? So it's very much possible. So I think that give respect to VA and take decisions on individual questions on the screen. Just because I read the passage doesn't mean that I have to forcefully attempt every single question. I think probably the same story with DLR as well. Okay, which is the case. So this is the broad thing I'm going to share. Any GP want to add or anything you want to pick up here?
Yeah, see, okay, just as I said, I attempt verbal first, and one of the reasons is when I start a paper, my reading speed is a little on the lower side, and when I have a huge passage or a longish passage in front of me, it obviously slows me down. As compared to that, doing the verbal question takes me less amount of time. It also helps me build my reading speed as I do those questions. But the key always is going to be, are you willing to leave the question or not? I was just glancing through the paper. Question 12th I had left. I couldn't make head or tail of what is the requirement. So मैंने कहा छोड़ दो मेरी औकात के बाद है. Question 12 the verbal one. Yeah, ये वाला छोड़ दिया था मैंने. And it tells me कि मैंने ठीक किया था. But question 20th I think was not that difficult.
Not.
You could definitely make out two pairs which are going to be there. And the fifth one then becomes the odd person out. Okay, so नहीं होना था.
Actually, वो question 20 ना, I think I felt that question 20 easy था, but public didn't feel it is easy. I don't know why. I think the problem was there were certain words here which is like a jinn मतलब क्या है? Okay.
But Jijo, if you look at this, statement 3 and 5 are definitely connected, no? Like a girl. So both of them, one is saying this movie is like some other movie. 3 and 5 are connected. And if you look at statement 4, transporting a familiar silhouette of sheet ghost into an environment which makes somehow. Okay, so you're talking about the ghost, and statement 2 is talking about the jinn. I took these two as the given and said, yeah, statement 1 has become incorrect.
Yeah, so basically this talks about every single sentence here in this film, their apartment, this film, it inverts. So 500 चाहिए first of all, है ना? ये पहला चीज. And if you actually look at this particular sentence, talks about there's a movie that's based on Iran-Iraq war, mother and daughter living and bombardment चल रहा है. During that period of time, the joy कहाँ से मिलने वाला है? There is so much joy in this film.
Absolutely.
Okay, so joy.
So which is why I'm surprised कि ये वाला क्यों गलत हुआ है. पहला वाला तो मुझे भी नहीं समझ आया, so obviously I left it. So I will assume it is difficult and नहीं हुआ मुझसे भी. But this question I'm a little surprised. Okay, correct. And then because I started this way and I did the verbal first, so last verbal question I think was 19th or 20th. 20th. So I started doing the passages also in the reverse manner.
Okay, when this side. Yes, sir.
So for me, it is 4-3-2-1. Okay, so I did the passage, but somehow HR was okay. The Tobler's law is fine. I don't think there should be a significant issue as such in this one. But I'm a little surprised with the HR passage. मेरे को इतना मुश्किल नहीं लगा that only one easy and two difficult. I'll just glancing through the paper. I don't think that was the case, but somehow ठीक है. Maybe pull that out.
HR वाला passage में, let me just pick the HR वाला passage, which is here. Wait a second. ये वाला passage. Okay, HR वाला passage में, yeah, I think this was about attitude of the author. Okay.
इसमें भी ना, Jijo, if you look at this, ultimately it is not critical. It is not skeptical. It is either 2 or 3. Now this boils down to your vocabulary more than anything else.
Yeah,
is it mildly sardonic or dryly humorous tone? And humorous so definitely nahi tha, so I went with sardonic. Okay? Though I had a broad idea what sardonic means, I don't know the exact meaning. Okay? But I could very clearly say humorous so nahi hai. मजाक में तो नहीं बोल रहा है.
यहाँ पे they are trying to maintain the illusion of busyness.
Illusion of busyness, yeah.
वो नहीं था, मतलब the passage clearly say that there are plenty of things to do. It is just that they are going to do fashionable things. So this was question number 1.
Yeah. So this was not difficult as such.
Question number 2 में, which of the following, how can this be questioned? I think the passage talks about the fact that job market में problem है. Okay, DI has gone down and AI has attacked. So this is like attacking the DA. This is attacking which is hiring cycles, job market hiring cycle. This is attacking AI. This is the randomly saying some random things about what HR can do. So this was also kind of possible. I think people went for this. Question number 3 was fine, and question number 4 is, what does author considered the HR to be? And the passage never talks about calmer stretches. I've never seen the passage, but calm nahi tha. So yes, you are right, GP. मतलब इसमें why people made it wrong.
To me, maybe by the time they hit this passage, they were maybe a little tired, but I don't know. That was the thing. In fact, I was actually struggling through the first passage. जो सबसे easy है, but that would also be because I had just about 5-6 minutes to do the passage, so I was just going a little faster than what I could. I still couldn't complete the paper, but I think I did 2 out of these 4 questions or 3 out of the 4. I don't remember how many, but 2 or 3 I attempted out there. Overall, as I said, the paper was not difficult, and every question and the choices, if you look at the choices carefully, you can easily eliminate the options.
Correct.
And that's what I normally do.
Yeah. So as well as none of these questions were jabardasti to make it difficult. It was not like that.
Right.
Which is like at least that is what you are also going to find in the CAT, right?
Mm.
So if you are confused in a sort of CAT question, the most important thing that you remember is that there is no point fighting for 2 minutes in some hope the things is going to happen. I think that the thing is that you have enough question to get the score that you need. You're evaluating enough question. If you get stuck every single time, every single you see some question on the screen, it's going to be problematic. And then other thing is that VA could definitely use it though. So these are the things I want to share. Yeah. Okay. Over to the gang.
So, okay.
Shashank, you are muted. Up mute now.
So I'm saying that would you like to take some questions, because the students are going crazy at this point of time in VA. Score down जा रहा है लगातार. So what should be done at this point of time? So यहाँ पे I have seen few questions.
Jijo, you are muted now.
I got 98 percentile for 34 marks VRC, but here 50% 99, even though this mock VRC was more difficult than CAT 24. All right. So whether I don't know. Actually, even I am surprised to see the score, technically speaking. But one of the things that you got to understand, GBK, okay, is that so see the VRC or CAT is a collection of questions on the screen, right? So when you are looking at a question on the screen, that is where your life is at that point in time. There is no worry about timer running or how many you have to attempt. If you just keep it very, very simple, evaluating the question that you see on the screen and making sensible decision, you have to do always think at your own pace. Well, if you can't read things fast, you evaluate properly, and then after giving one thorough evaluation to a particular question, you could eliminate enough options to bet on a particular option. Go ahead and do it. But if you get confused, I mean, you can still figure out in your mind, okay, I know how to resolve this confusion. But in your mind, you're saying that I'm just going to fight for a -1 mark. You just have to move on. So, yeah. Sir, I attempted nearly 70 to 18 questions, 3 RCs and 4 VA, got 8 to 9 right, very high negatives and got back a low score, not getting how to manage. Pehla to 4 RCs is the problem, 4 VA. So when you're saying that you're attempted 17 to 18 questions with 3 RCs and 4 VA, that means you're total evaluating how many questions? 20 questions. So उसमें से तो 4 VA तो इधर ही चला गया. 4 questions इधर ही चला गया. So it's about 16 questions you attempted. So basically
yeah, Jijo, I think people need to remember 8 questions of VAs, 2 RCs. So it's effectively, you could say this is a paper which has got 4 plus 2 RCs in terms of number of questions. And if you are not attempting VA, you are leaving 1/3. And if you are saying I'll do 3 RCs only, then 50% of the paper is gone.
So what is probably happening in your case, that in your mind at least, VA is something like area where you're not expecting scores to happen. So therefore, you're putting too much pressure on RC on every single question. If the question is confusing you, in your mind, you're saying that I have to evaluate this, I have to clear this confusion to get the marks. The first step that I will recommend is that 8.BA questions. If let's say that there are a lot many mocks that you have taken, that I'm sure that there are a lot many tests that is available with you, is that you look at 8BA question and keep it very simple. The question on the screen, that I don't know where the 4 or 5 easy question is going to be in BA. Look at the question on the screen, decide, give your full commitment to that particular question. If it confuses, leave it. If it gets, mark it. So, and then because in this particular paper you had at least 12, 13, 14, 15 marks worth of VA available to you. I think that was a mistake. So your solution redemption is not going to be from reading comprehension. Your redemption will be from VA. Sir, if you said if confused between two options, then leave it. But in most cases, I'm confused. They are, if you're going to be confused between two options, now what does that mean? That means that if let's say let's look at this. I don't know, Abhishek, what is the marks that you need? Let's assume that you want 30 marks. Right. Let's assume that's a mid 30. You want to, let's say, get about 30 plus marks in a particular paper. So you have got 24 marks in front of you. I don't know how many questions you attempt. You are attempting 20 questions.
No, he's not attempting anything. He's leaving the section itself because he's confused in every respect.
No. He's saying that if confused between two options, then leave. But in most cases, I am confused. This way, I have to skip. The question is, my suggestion, what I'm telling the student is to leave if you get confused. Now, he's saying that he's confused in every single question. I have to leave the complete paper. So that may be even slightly better than trying to attempt. So basically, if you have a confused question, no, what is going to happen to resolve the confusion? You have to invest time on it. Now is the question is you're going to invest time on it. You are investing time in the hope that the confusion gets resolved. You do invest time, but at certain point in time, you have to take a call now. So you read the passage at your own pace. The more you invest time in question that is confused, there is less time available for more number of questions. Because less time available for more number of questions, you are not going to read the passage properly, read the question properly. Likelihood of more confusion. The reason why you are confused more is probably because you're trying to resolve all the confusion that you have. If I need 30 marks, 10 questions to chahiye. And I'm sure that you probably attempting 18, 20 questions. There are enough questions that is in front of me. I have to give sensible, I think reasonable. BRC is all about bet. I have to bet on, let's say, 14 to 15 questions. Now the point is, if on the questions I'm betting on, that I'm confident, I'm not getting marks from it, तो मतलब औकात ही नहीं है ना, तो बोले छोड़ ही देते हैं cat. Okay, I have to bet on, let's say, 14 to 15 questions, or how many ever questions in the particular paper, and that's what's gonna change the story. So that's all I got to say. I'm facing decision fatigue when I try to choose the order of attack, and I curse myself wasting the first 2 minutes in searching what RC to start. Can I get yes? Go on. See, first of all, the problem is that I don't know. So if somebody were to ask me how do I decide which RC to start, I don't know. Okay, because eventually the issue is going to be with respect to how the options are framed. You'll only get to know the problem after reading the passage, after going to the question, then evaluating the options. So they said if you're the only way, there is no need for any order of attack, right? You can look at the first passage. I think that if let's say you are telling yourself that I probably will have time to solve about 3 passages and 1 passage I may not have time, then I think the only information that is available to you is the passage itself. So read the passage. If you find it's comfortable as a topic, attack it. And if you feel that there is no point spending 2 minutes in the beginning trying to figure out which one to do and which one not to do. At least for me, it's not making sense.
So let's start. LR.
All right, thank you.
So this is LR's question bias scenario. This is what happened in CAT 2024-2023. So if you see CAT 2021, 99.5 percentile was at 37 and 99 was at 34. So here the values, if you look at the values, for 99.5 and 99 they are similar, but as you go at a lower end, the differences are huge. Now this is the chart that we got. So basically the first set and 4 sets, these two sets were extremely easy. Time zone वाला set किसी ने नहीं किया. No one attempted it, and anyone who has attempted it didn't get it right. And as well as the AQI wala set, that was a little trickier. And I'm surprised कि first वाले set में second question खराब क्यों है लोगों का? In the first one, first set and fourth set, I think everything should be right. But second
Attempt
question
wise, no surprise at all. Attempt wise, I think exactly in sync with what we were discussing this morning, Ravi.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think we even discussed the priority order, and we said 1, 4, 2, 3 and 5 interchangeable है. 1, 4, 2 होंगे पहले 3 set in that order, and then 3 and 5 are interchangeable. In terms
Absolutely.
of somebody could do 5 as the fourth attempt, 3. So this is surely not a surprise. And the good part is set 1 looks like around 80-85% people give it a go. If we have the chart, look at the chart, and set 4 also close to about 80% odd people give it a go. So 4/5 of the people have given that a go. That's a good thing. The remaining 20%, I would really be interested to know why you didn't give it a go. Because I think देख के एकदम clear cut दिख रहा था कि ये दो set तो थोड़े easy है. And the good part about both the sets was दोनों में starting points बहुत clearly visible थे. First set में when they told you कि indexed है basis 2020, 21, 22, 23, वो index वाले years 100, 100, 100 ही थे. It could have been made difficult by making the index change. One of the years was 120 and then you had to do it, but that didn't happen. And similarly, the fourth set started with finding out China के against कितने goals होंगे, where the sum total of the goals scored and scored against were there. So the starting point of both sets, I think, were very straightforward as well. So interesting है. I am, however, I'll be very open. I'm very surprised कि last set के first 2 question में ज़्यादा नहीं है. I thought कि वहाँ पे लोग पहुँचेंगे. Could you share the paper probably, Shashank? Yeah. Ravi, maybe you could start. GP Ravi. So Ravi has done the video solutions for this mock, and I've taken an
26.
I understand it being a theta question and the increase being 100, and यहाँ पे दो चीज हो सकती है. People could have marked 100 कि that is the total increase. Have not read the word average growth, उसके वजह से 100 mark कर सकते हैं. Then second option is you mark 25, which is the correct answer, saying that it is an increase over 4 years, right? But then the table has 5 years. 100 divided by 5, 20 वाले answers भी आए होंगे.
Exactly.
So the attempts are higher. There were 2 possible traps in that question, which, okay, I am not now very surprised by the accuracy of the second question. ठीक है, हो सकता है mistake इसमें. If you read the question very carefully and answer, तो question निकलने का mistake होने का chance नहीं है.
I think 20% वाले काफी होंगे, Ravi.
Yeah, divide by 5 वाले है. Shreyansh is saying in the chat box, I gave 25. And as is Raghav.
Yeah.
Right? So that was the thing. But, simple concept of indexing based on percentages, ye to apan, multiple mocks mein there have been sets based on indexing. This one has to be one of the easier ones out of those which have been asked in question. I felt that 27-28 में कोई करे तो करे गड़बड़. मतलब in fact 27 it was very 30 or 33 में, because 90% total में से 1/3 ये आ रहा था. 1/3 is 33. 33 was sitting in the options. There was a possible trap there, but 27 has a very good what do you say? Very good accuracy.
27-28. I hope you all use the calculator, guys. ज़्यादा कुछ सोचो मत, calculator use करके आगे बढ़ो.
No, and people have done it. They have also gotten it right. Accuracy is
calculator की जरूरत थी क्या गौतम?
GP, just to get rid of any sort of calculation error or anything, because especially 28 में देखो ना 29.5 30.
And
so my recommendation always is जब इतना close हो मत जाओ. Approximation में कुछ भी गलती अगर हो जाए, why lose those 3 marks?
ठीक है. Yeah.
or on the safe side?
This
This was
is
an
a
interesting question. Ravi did it. Ravi, you did it by 1-2. You were saying something, na? Number 1-2 logic.
Instead of taking the stages as poor, I just qualified them as rank 1 to 6. And once there were numbers, it was easy for me कि deviation 1 to 1 से ज़्यादा column wise भी नहीं हो सकता, row wise भी नहीं हो सकता. So it was much easier for me to fill the table. Whatever was definitely fixed, करना बहुत easy था. After I chose as 1, 2, 3, 4 instead of good, satisfactory. Good तो खैर था ही नहीं कहीं पे, है नहीं और रहेगा भी नहीं दिल्ली में.
दिल्ली है यार, दिल्ली में गुड़ कहाँ पे आएगा इस मौसम में?
इसका रवि, आई वाज सीइंग अ फ्यू स्टूडेंट्स सेइंग 31 में कुछ है, 31 ठीक से नहीं समझ आया. इवन इन माय अटेम्प्ट, आई विल बी वेरी ऑनेस्ट, आई डिडंट अटेम्प्ट क्वेश्चन 31 बिकॉज 31 500 से आई स्टार्टेड सब्स्टिट्यूशन. देन आई वाज लाइक मेरे को काम करना पड़ेगा, डिवाइड बाय 1.1 डिवाइड बाय 1.1 टू प्रूव कि ये हो सकता है. एंड आई वाज लाइक इट्स नॉट वर्थ इट, आई वुड रादर गो अहेड and pick up the other set जहाँ पे 1-2 question हो सकते थे. So 31 probably you could get into a little bit.
So 31, the point was, there was, see, if you look at the 3 data points given above, or the table, वो table और वो 3 data points दिखाना एक बार शशांक सर, और 31 भी visible होना चाहिए स्क्रीन पर. थोड़ा सा ऊपर लेके जाइए टेबल को. Yeah. So if you look at the table is given at a week level, right? And if you look at point 1 and 2, point 1 talks about 1 week to next week. Point 2 also talks about in the given week, right? So it is also talking about the weekly average only. But point 3 talks about daily increase 10% to day. So 1 day to the next, that last phrase is the one that is going to create a problem to answer the question that you was. Point 3 is talking about from 1 day to the next. So 1 week jo bol rahe hai, in the 5th week there are 7 days, boss. So given that NCT in week 4 was very poor, which is stage 4, which is very poor was going till what? 400? Very poor was 400 tak possible tha, very poor. So week 5 में what is the highest possible is the thing. So very poor could have gone till 400. So 400 पे 10%. So last day of the last day could have been 400 of the previous week. The entire week could have been 400 in the previous week. ऐसा करके. And the next day of the very next week, first day could be a 10% increase. Second day could be a 10% increase over that. Third day could be a 10% increase over that. वहीं पे आप you will cross 500. And it is given in the data that it is not impossible for the AQI to deteriorate beyond 500. It is impossible for the data to read beyond 500. So anything that is above, you're showing solution sheet. So anything above 500 will be read as 500. So maximum possible average AQI reading during the week, right? That could have gone to above 500 in this case. क्योंकि हो सकता था.
So if I were to have taken a punt, I would have just marked 500. I was trying to prove. I substituted 500 and then I was trying to prove कि ये सही हो सकता है कि नहीं हो सकता. And I didn't take a punt. But logically speaking, because of that condition कि above 500 भी होगा तो read 500 करेगा, उसके वजह से 500 लेके punt mark करके you could have gone ahead without needing to prove anything.
But यहाँ पे एक point है जीवी. Question is also asking about maximum average possible reading. Reading is going to remain 500 under 500 only for any
500 ही रहेगी.
तो इसमें what we can miss out on very simply is week 4 is very poor. Week 4 का average is very poor. तो week 4 का last day could have been 500. उसके बाद week 5 पूरा 500 पे रह सकता है, exact 500 पे reading. Right. So वैसे करके you can go ahead and think कि boss okay उसके ऊपर जा सकता है. So week 4
average being the key term.
Average is very poor. Average is less than 400, but हो सकता है week 4 का last day was 500 And from there, every day in week 5 is 500. In that case, the average, maximum possible average becomes 500. That is another way to look at it.
क्वेश्चन नंबर 33 to 37 मुझे तो लगता ही नहीं है कि करना चाहिए था. मैं तो
ये interesting था.
Shashank, if you are going to the fourth set, if you have to go to the fourth set, then I will pick this rather than the last one.
Yeah, that's what I did as well.
And it's maybe देखो question 37 is a sitter. If you know the basics of this time zone change, 37 तो सीधा आंसर दिया हुआ है ना.
See, 37 is the direct one क्योंकि AD भी पता है और DA भी पता है. Both ways अगर दे दिया you can definitely calculate the time zone difference as well as the flight hours.
Yeah.
So in that
तो
sense,
एक सवाल तो होना चाहिए है.
मेरे को 36 भी personally बहुत अच्छा लगा. I use that as a means to solve this set. If you read 36, it states a flight that departs from B at 4 crosses the other two cities on the way before arriving at D. मतलब B is one and D is the other end. और ये अपने को पता था that D is to the east of B. So B से D जाना है. Now the order could only be BACD or BCAD. Now start with the order of BCAD. You get 10 p.m. Had it been BACD, it would have been greater than 10 p.m. There is no other option. So that means the order has to be BCAD. And now solve the entire set knowing that that is the order BCAD. That's the way I did it. उसमें I did 36, 37 and उससे 34 भी आ गया. 33 and 35 में फिर से मेहनत करने की जरूरत थी. There were 5 minutes to go. So that's where I took a call कि last set के first two questions might be easier. But I think 36 was giving us a clear-cut indicator.
in fact, अगर आप 33, if you go to the data table, इसका
शशांक ऊपर
थोड़ा सा ऊपर इसमें अब B से C जो है there is 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. तो 3 इन्वॉल्व है. तो 3 घंटा का पॉइंट है वहां पे. सो 4 बजे है तो मैं इधर के 3 घंटे और उधर के 3 घंटे ले लूंगा. पॉसिबल. 8 p.m. seems impossible. वैसे ही from this. Even if you consider both the cases, you will get the same answer. But I think, see, having said that, this is based on observation. Guys, what we are saying here is observation after having seen the paper. But पेपर में अगर मेरे सामने ये सेट आता तो क्या मैं इसको सॉल्व करता जब सेट 4 वो गेम्स एंड टूर्नामेंट्स वाला बैठा है मेरे सामने. तो शायद मोस्ट लाइकली नो.
करता है एज अ फोर्थ अटेम्प्ट. करता है फोर्थ अटेम्प्ट में घुसना तब करता.
Yeah,
so Ravi, not have been picked up as the first 3 sets for sure.
Ravi, it is either 1-4 or 1-4-2 as the first 3 sets. उसके बाद I will pick this up.
Correct. So इसमें से भी अगर मेरे को करना होता वो AD वाला करता है. And वो that fourth question that you are saying कि BCAD is the one that we could have possibility done. But I don't think generally a set on time zone will be a little complicated. Generally, as long as you don't have all the 8 flights given to you, A to B, B to C, सारे possibilities, सारे 12 अगर दे दे तुमको, then you will be able to get everything, right? And then you can solve it. But if only 5 or 6 out of those are given, then there will always be cases which the questions are, see, again, it's a very clear choice. All the 5 questions are if, except that T2 पे कौन रहेगा, right? Except that everything else is a particular case. So that was indicative कि बॉस एक तो तुमको टाइम जोन पे मेहनत करना है और मेहनत करने के बाद भी नहीं निकलेगा तो छोड़ दो. To my mind, this was not a priority set in the paper. This would be my last. एकदम लास्ट पे शायद मैं करता है पेपर.
मैं तो देख के ही छोड़ देता. मैं करता 1, 2, 4 and perhaps 5th. टाइम बचता तो 5th करता. 4th तो नहीं. This is not something. मतलब look at the questions. Every question is very lengthy. So when I was reading the questions, मुझे लगा नहीं यार नहीं ये नहीं है पेपर लाइन. This one is
again a very nice set, right?
laddu
and test your absolute basics कि games and tournament के एकदम absolute basics पता है कि नहीं. goal scored by the team and goal scored against the team का sum total जो होगा, that was the very first question if you look at it. So it is test, and this is what I stated even in the last mock. मेरे को last mock और ये mock में जो चीजें अच्छी लगी है, we've tested some of the absolute basic tenets of last mock में Venn diagram, this mock में games and tournament. If you've solved these well, these two mocks have been a very good revision tool according to me.
Yeah, I think.
And also इसका question 39 is also very very nice.
अगर इसमें मेरे को कोई पूछ लेता, मतलब इसमें अगर ऐसा क्वेश्चन मेरे को दिख जाता कि मलेशिया कितने ड्रॉ है, तो मैं मर ही जाता. I'm glad वो क्वेश्चन देखिए, फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन बहुत बेसिक्स है, बट इवन आफ्टर दैट फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन,
और फिर उसका अटेम्प्ट एंड एक्यूरेसी देखने में भी बहुत मजा आता है रवि. But you know, I like question number 39 because एक चीज तो बहुत क्लियर हो गई थी when you look at India and South Korea. It's very clear that South Korea के against जो गोल लगा है वो इंडिया ने मारा because India has won all three. Correct. So that means 1-0 हो गया in India's favor, India versus South Korea. South Korea के the other two matches का net result is 4-0. Now when it's 4-0, it is either 1-0-3-0 or 2-0-2-0.
Correct.
Question 39 tells you it's 1-0-3-0. You don't need to think of 2-0-2-0 as a case also to disprove. Yeah. So the moment you get that, the set becomes even easier.
So, this anyway was a green Manhattan. all green skyscrapers, I think. Yeah?
Absolutely.
Yeah. All green.
And rightly so. Good to see.
Last wala, I think too much is written.
JB, while recording the solution to this set, I recorded the first two questions and stopped recording. And then I resumed. It said, this is part 2, this is not for you. Not to be done.
My attempt was the same. I have just attempted the first two.
पहले दो करने हैं, because see, there is some data given, then there is a table about test 1 and test 2, and then 6 data points are given about test 3.
Test 3
में क्या होने वाला है. 2 out of the 5 questions are about वहां तक का table with some missing data, with all missing numbers being 0, 10, 20, 30, 40. So वहां तक it is a very simple set. वहां तक you spend 6 minutes, you get 6 marks, you leave it. Beyond which you go, थोड़ा सा questions दिखाएंगे अगर आप शशांक सर इसमें हैं. So you'll identify that even after those 6 points, question 44 says maximum how many students received the same grade. मतलब certainty नहीं है, वो 6 points के बाद भी test 3 में exactly किसके साथ क्या होगा certainty नहीं है. Question 46 again, maximum how many students their parents were informed about their performance. That means those extra 6 points, you'll take extra effort to understand. The sentences are complex, you'll take extra effort to understand, put it in the table. Even after doing that, you'll first problem in this is कि आप representation कैसे करोगे. Test 1 to test 2 तो आपने कर दिया, चलो सब चंगा है, ऐसा tick cross, मतलब 1 across 2 you did. Now you have to do 1 versus 2 versus 3 when it comes to the test 3 data, right? That is where representation wise both set 3 and set 5 are a nightmare. I mean, time zone वाला भी standard ऐसा टेबल बनाने को नहीं होता है ना अपने पास. We have to put them east to west, अपने को देखना पड़ता है x या क्या कितना time zone difference होगा, कितना flight time होगा, वो सब लिखना पड़ेगा, variables आएंगे. Again here that was the issue. Representation wise this was a nightmare for the last 3 questions. But I'm not particularly happy with the students getting the first 2 questions wrong. I see about 30% of students have attempted the first 2 questions, but only 30% of them got the first 2 questions wrong. Right. The first 2 questions were pretty much doable with the data that was given. So, if you
know, it won't take a lot of time to fill up the table that is given to us. The table, test 2 table was, I think, 4-5 minutes thing, not more than that, even less than that.
That's what I'm saying. 6 minutes, you get 6 marks. You should be happy with that in this particular set. Because even after that extra effort of 6 to 10 minutes more, you would be stuck with questions which are talking about maximization, which is always a dangerous kind of a question. Almost always. Right. So that's the issue with this. So 142 was a definite I think universally acceptable order in this paper. After that, I would still go with 5 before 3. Okay, 3 is time zone, nothing else. And 5
No,
is missing data.
in general, I would have done the same in general, but I think वो 3 का last question देख के it felt like it was attracting you, and then second last question also gave an indicator. So अगर वो strike कर जाए, I can understand why somebody would want to pick 3 before 5.
Okay. In fact, if you
Plus
look at
3 question वहाँ हो सकते थे.
46
मैं
अगर आप देखो,
yeah, Ravi, I would have taken 3 above 5.
I would have picked
But
5 over. Definitely.
but I think with the individual question, to me, what
Yeah.
would be criminal in this paper is to do either 3 or 5 before the other 3 sets. Whether you pick 3 or 5, I'm least bothered about it. But 1 to 4 किया कि नहीं किया, ये मेरे को critical है इसमें. If you have done 1 to 4, you have assured yourself of a 97 plus percentile.
Agreed. If
नहीं,
you look
and
at
उसके बाद
46, sir, 46 में there is a very simple जुगाड़ here. 20 बोल रहा है 250 स्टूडेंट्स है और उसका परसेंटेज कुछ पूछ रहा है. 22% of 250 comes to 55.
अच्छा.
25% is not an integer, हटा दो. 28% is 70 and 30% is 75. ठीक है. All the numbers are multiples of 10 in the table.
70.
तो 70 ही possible answer हो सकता था. There is nothing else.
Nice.
Very nice.
That is
I
nice.
जैसे मैं options देखा मैं उसको I converted it into numbers and then said boss that's the
Very nice. This
though,
is good.
while recording the solution I went through the entire thing but at the end in the solution I told कि boss देखो वैसे भी बाकी 3 हो नहीं सकते.
ये सोचना चाहिए था, ये भी आ सकता था.
ये भी निकल जाता.
Nice. Nice.
नहीं बट जो रवि कह रहे हैं ना, ये बहुत अच्छी टेक्निक होती है जहां पे परसेंटेज है in such kind of questions. Always look at number, convert them into number, and you'll be able to eliminate options.
Correct.
So let's move towards Quant now.
Quant.
Let's address the elephant in the room, the QA section, which
The QA
most people,
section.
including me, I felt it was moderate to tough.
मेरे को क्वांट में जुगाड़ वाले 4-5 सवाल एक्सेल मिल गए, if not more. Let me just see. I'll just
Before that, I think if we can just pick up 1 or 2 questions of DILR जो आया है, before we move to Quant. Aryan का ये specific आया. He had 7 minutes left. He went into set 3. He got -1 from that. GP set 3. Maybe you want to pick this up because at least last question तो straightforward दिख रहा था. But yeah.
हाँ, मेरा उसके अंदर वही है. If you had 7 minutes left, Aryan, you should have gone through all the questions and picked up the one which is the obvious one, which is the last question of the set. Other thing, when you look at this particular set, इसमें I'll just go to the set. इसमें I'll just, if you look at the questions in set 3, if you look at B is the variable out there. If it is 4 p.m. at C, what is that going to be in B? But it cannot be. That means there are 3 possibilities for B. Yani B or C may confusion. And similarly, question 3 and 5, 3 and 4 also are talking about B. Now, this is a set which I would recommend you pick up only when you are very comfortable with the concept of time zone change. If you are not, then this was not a good set to be picked up. Okay? Then with those 7 minutes, possibly filling up those last set of data, last set would have been good enough. Or maybe in this particular set, you should have done only the first last one. And वो 3 number लेके ठीक हो जाता. This was a slightly difficult also because you had to make those cases. You did not know exact time difference between 2 of the things, if I remember correctly. 2 of the cities. Okay. For one city, you okay. D ठीक है.
सिर्फ AD पता चलता है सर. Only AD both ways strip is given in the table, so only AD you can be sure about. Everything else is tentative.
There was one journey where you knew that the time difference is equal to the travel time, and that's the variable you have to live with. Kuntal says, what to do if 3-4 minutes are left? Should I pick up a new set or go for a completely unattempted question of old set? Kuntal, go for a completely unattempted question of old set only if you know you will be able to solve it. Otherwise, see if you can hunt for one single question which you can solve. Okay? But that you will not be able to do if you start from scratch for a set. If you use my method, which is I scan the sets before I start the paper, then I know which are the questions I can go for. And if you're following my technique, then it is possible. If you decide I'll go sequentially, keep doing what I like, then probably what I'm saying might be a little difficult in 3-4 minutes. In 6-7 minutes, yes. If there are 5 to 7 minutes available, then you can look at a set, go through it, and then maybe pick out one odd question and solve it.
Okay, there is one slight thing in this, that if you are left with a set that you have not seen, but it has all 5 if questions with a short setup.
I was about to say that.
All 4 if questions with a short setup. Matlab each case is different. Then it becomes 4 different questions of quant.
Yeah.
तो अगर 3-4 मिनट भी बचे हैं तो एक आध क्वेश्चन उस टाइप का सेट में से निकलना पॉसिबल है. So if that kind of a set is left, go for that.
Dr. Jayesh Bansal, I did set 143, scored 32. I think you missed out on an opportunity of maybe scoring close to about 40 odd marks. 142 करते 36 शायद वहां आ जाता, and 3 के probably एक दो और question निकल आते. So I still feel that while 32 is good, you probably missed out on another opportunity.
जयेश सेट 2 मिस करना अच्छा नहीं था इसमें, बट ठीक है. I think set 2 में प्रॉब्लम वही है कि most students would be working with words rather than numbers. In this kind of set, you just replace those bands with moderate, poor, with numbers 1 to 6 or 0 to 5, whatever you're comfortable with. It becomes much more easier.
You don't leave a set without
Ravi
reading
GP,
the
if you want to pick Rohan's.
That is the solution to it. You don't leave a set without reading the questions. You don't solve it without reading the questions. You don't leave it without.
And I
reading the
hope
questions.
that, and I hope that irrespective of your strategy of attempting the paper, whether you do it the way GP and I do, which is starting में go through all sets and decide क्या करना है, or you do it the Ravi way की each set at a time. I hope आप question को भी पढ़ते हो when taking that call, and you don't just take that call basis the setup or the mother data. Most of the time you would have seen, if you've seen our attempts and videos, that most of the time we actually take the call basis the question. मैक्सिमा मिनिमा है, टीटा है, ये सब है, तो हम बोलते हैं हम बाद में करेंगे. और स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चंस हैं या ऑप्शंस एलिमिनेशन हो पा रहे हैं या कुछ होता है, हम बोलते हैं हम पहले करेंगे. सो I hope that you all are doing that. I can't stress on that enough. Ravi stated that multiple times. I hope you're not missing out on that.
See, both RC and DILR have a common feature, that is the question which effectively decide whether it's an easy set or a difficult set, easy passage or difficult. So you cannot decide on whether I will attempt that set or not without looking at the questions.
I personally read all the questions before starting the set. So once I decided I'm going to do this set, I would read all the questions before even starting my calculations.
Yeah.
Or
So this is the graph of QA. If you see the greenish thing, there are only 6 lines that are green. और उसमें से भी 3 तो एकदम towards the end ही है. Everything is scattered. First 3 questions are disasters.
I am totally all right with this graph. मैं इस ग्राफ का कंबल ओढ़ के सो सकता हूँ. Exactly ऐसा ही. मतलब यही हुआ मेरे साथ पे. I found only 5 to 6 sitters. May not be the exactly the same questions that I'm seeing here, but yes, I could find only 5 to 6 sitters in the exam. All other questions I had to work my way around. Though I'm not happy with the first question and the second question का attempt, but let's see when we see the question paper.
First वाला तो उतना मुश्किल नहीं था मेरे ख्याल से.
Yeah.
That should have been, I think.
But it is conceptual, GP. मतलब कि आपको पता होना चाहिए कि मतलब ये चीज चमकना कि ऐसे वाले गेम टोटल मनी इन द गेम रिमेन कांस्टेंट.
But Ravi, then my point is you should not be attempting it.
Correct.
It is question 1 was a question, either you attempt it or you leave it. After reading, अगर चमक गया क्या करना तो कर दो, नहीं चमका तो छोड़ दो, because लॉजिक पेपर में कम ही चमकता है.
Correct. Question 48
और
is a
47 रवि एक बार बता दो स्टूडेंट्स को, आई थिंक वो स्ट्रगल होगा स्टूडेंट्स का.
so 47. I think it is basically us trying to understand that Chetna started with 54. She would have gone to 2C. She would have gone to 4C and then came back to 54.
Yeah.
Right? So Chetna donated 3C. वो है point. So Chetna, अगर उसका ending 54 है, then Chetna donated 162 rupees. And by donating, what did she do? She doubled the money that A and B had with them. So A and B in that previous round had 162 taken together, and Chetna had 216. That will be the total amount of money in the game. Basically, the concept here is if Shivku, me, and GP are playing this game, we have come to the table with some money. There is no external bank funding us anywhere else. Baki Shivku, the total amount of money in this game is not going to change. That is the key to understand.
The amount of money with A, B, and C is constant. The sum is constant. Sorry.
Sum is constant. 48 is your regulation set theory question. I think that 201 is a pain. लोग 200 होता तो बहुत आराम से कर लेते लोग.
200 एक में भी प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. 75% करके एक ऐड कर दो ना, बिकॉज़ डेसिमल तो नहीं हो सकता.
Exactly. Between दिया है, वैसे भी 75 नहीं होता.
83% of 200 is 166, so एक और ऐड कर दो उसमें.
Absolutely. And वैसे भी मिनिमम पूछा है, तो you are talking about 70% and 80% का intersection.
Yeah.
That's 50%.
49 I would left.
Absolutely. 49 मेरे को देख के चमक गया कि we are looking for factors of 10, 2 और 5 के जितने भी ये आते हैं वो करो, but I felt it's not worth it in the exam.
मैंने 5 के सारे मल्टीपल ही लिख लिए.
मैं इतनी मेहनत नहीं करनी, मेरे को 50th कर दिया ना मैंने. 50th, if you draw the figure, you'll get the answer.
Oh,
see,
in
it's
the attempt, I drew the figure.
हाँ.
वो फिगर अप्रोक्सीमेट करते करते मैंने शायद 4:3 की जगह 3:4 कर दिया है उसमें.
नहीं, but उसमें रवि, if you look at the figure में BF has to be greater than FC. If you and typically the other thing is ABC is a triangle. It does not say what kind of triangle. So assume it either to be an equilateral triangle or maybe a right isosceles triangle. 45, 45, 90 triangle assume करो, दिखता है एकदम उसके अंदर आंसर क्या होगा. So my suggestion to all students is please draw the figure based on the question to scale and you'll get the answer. Okay. Question 51 again. Two things which I would recommend to students in 51. It is not 24 students and 32 students in section A and B. It is 2 and 3 students. Please make your calculation easier. Instead of 24, 36, take the ratio as 2 and 3. Secondly, in test 1, assume the score of A to be 0. Everything else will become easy. Question 52. Again, there's a very simple jugaad. First of all, it is 2 rupees, 3 rupees and 5 rupees a kg, but 200, 300, 500 में भी problem नहीं है. Now, please look at this. What is the ratio of X is to A is to B is what we need to find, right? You can just check the choices. Now look at this way. When you make the mixture M to C is 2:1. So if I look at choice 1, A is to B, C is to 5, 8 kgs. So mixture C, so the type CT should be to 4 kg. So it is 3, 5, 4, 1, 4, 2.5, 2, 7 and 4.5, 3, 10, 6.5. ये डेसिमल वाले आंसर नहीं हो सकते, 3:5 होना चाहिए. वेरीफाई कर लो. I hope I have been able to explain. शशांक समझ आया क्या बोला मैंने?
हाँ, लेकिन I have used alternate approach. I have done allegation. बट से आ गया. So उसमें क्या हुआ कि उसका जो कॉस्ट प्राइस होना चाहिए वो 350 होना चाहिए.
हाँ, वो तो आएगा. देखो, selling price is 420. Average cost price has to be less than or equal to 350. So when I'm saying 3:5:4, All you're trying to check is my average cost price coming out to be less than 350 or more than 350.
मैंने 350 ही ले लिया. मैं कहा
अच्छा वो ठीक है, कैलकुलेट कर सकते हो. मैं कहा इतनी मेहनत नहीं करनी, 64 लगा लो.
नहीं उसमें 350 ले लो और रेशियो अपना 2:1 का है, तो पहले वाले का प्राइस आ जाएगा और दोबारा एलिगेशन लगा लो तो उससे 1:3 आ जाएगा, तो 1:3 से बड़ा होना चाहिए.
ठीक है,
मुझे नहीं लगता है, मैं गलत कर दिया इसको. I mean I didn't attempt. I mean I tried. मुझे चमक ही नहीं रहा मैं क्या करूं. मैं वो रेशियोस लेके अटक रहा था, तो मैं
53. I just want you to remember that A plus C is going to be half of A plus B. That is the critical thing for me as far as this question is concerned. 53 again बहुत simple था. Answer should be slightly more than 42. Because after all, if it's a 6 wala hexagon, it will be 36. If it's a 7 wala hexagon, it will be 42. And since at the edge it will be a small curve, so answer should be slightly more than 42. Choice 1 is wrong. Choice 2 is 42 point something, so can be right. Choice 3 and 4 are 45 and 48, very high. Answer should be choice 2.
So the first thing when I saw this question, I felt कि 6 के हेक्सागन के ऊपर एक 7 का हेक्सागन बना देता हूँ. बट फिर मैं देखा चारों ऑप्शन में पाए है, तो मेरे को वहां से देख के चमका कि सर्कल कहीं बन रहा होगा.
हाँ, मेरे को भी वो चॉइस देख के ही सर्कल का चमका, मुझे मेरे को भी पहले नहीं ख्याल आया था.
तो वहां फिर मैंने पैरेलल 6 के बना दिए और फिर मैं बोला वो ऐसे ऐसे सर्कल बनाएंगे. वो उसका एंगल फाइंड करते करते मैं फंस गया. थोड़ा टाइम लग गया, बट eventually got there.
Question number 54 is very easy. Very easy.
54 is 2 into 5 square. That is a standard formula.
हाँ. और उसके बाद अगला वाला जो क्वेश्चन है that is
स्टैंडर्ड फॉर्मूला 54 में एक मिनट यार.
2c square by ab.
अच्छा ठीक है, that's okay.
तो 2 into 5 square 50. Ignore 3 and minus 2. खत्म.
क्वेश्चन नंबर 55 भी मतलब जनरली स्टैंडर्ड क्वेश्चन ही है, ज्यादा कुछ तो करना नहीं है इसमें. जैसे करते हैं वैसे करते चले जाओ, you will get that.
हाँ, it's straightforward. 55, 56 should be straightforward ना.
हाँ, यहाँ तक सर, ये 56 तक मुझे लग रहा था मेरी लाइफ बहुत अच्छी है. फिर आए 57, 58.
नहीं 57 हो जाता है.
57 मैंने बहुत ही एक जुगाड़ लगा के आंसर लगाया है इसमें.
हाँ, क्या किया?
मैं बोला कि इधर का भी दिया है, उधर का भी दिया है कंस्ट्रेंट. इट्स नॉट अ यूनिक एक साइड का वन साइडेड कंस्ट्रेंट, इट्स अ टू साइडेड कंस्ट्रेंट. सो द आंसर इज नॉट एक्सट्रीम्स. I eliminated 1.2, 1.43. Then I said 1.27 पे 22% हटाएंगे तो प्रॉफिट नहीं आएगा, तो उसको भी हटा दिया. तो what was left was 1.35.
इसमें the starting point should be, you see, look at this way. It is some X% 22, some X% markup followed by a 22% discount, and you should still be profitable.
Correct.
So your answer cannot be 1.2 and 1.27 because this is markup of 20% with a discount of 22 negative. Markup of 27 with a minus 22 and AB by 100 will become negative. So answer has to be either 35 or 43. उसके बाद 43 को तुम छोड़ सकते हो यार. Using your logic, leave it.
So मैंने क्या किया, मैंने 30 और 90 ही मान लिया. So 10% का डिफरेंस अपना क्या कहते हैं 60 रुपए हो गया, तो मार्क प्राइस 600 हो गया, उसी पे कैलकुलेट कर दिया मैंने. सो माय वैल्यू केम आउट टू बी 1.36. तो मुझे लगा है 1.35 ही आंसर होगा.
But again, this is the issue with the paper, as I said at the beginning. देखो, प्रॉफिट लॉस का क्वेश्चन है, दिख रहा है, होने वाला है, लोग उतरेंगे, बट होगा नहीं उतने आसानी से.
बट ये चीज ना लास्ट 3 साल के कैट के पेपर में कंटिन्यूअसली देख रहा हूं मैं. That you remember that time and work के क्वेश्चन में वो आ गया था, APGP कहीं पे डाल दिया, HP डाल दिया था कहीं पे, with people would many most students would struggle with. So ये खास बात है इसकी. 58 is that question again. Look at this question 58. यहाँ पे मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी. 59 is your Pythagorean triplet question.
59 the moment I got x square plus y square is 400 I thought कि यार 20 कौन से ट्रिपलेट में आता है I started writing 3 4 5 6 8 10 आ गया हाँ मैं एक और चीज था कि I realized कि वो जो that difference distance from this side to P है that should be greater than 15 less than 20
हाँ बिल्कुल दिखता है
from the diagram तो मैं 16 लगा के देखा आ गया तो that was
हाँ
there
P to AD should be greater than P to AB.
एंड जस्ट फॉर द सेक ऑफ वेरिफिकेशन मैंने नीचे वाले ट्रायंगल का भी 6 8 10 बना के देख लिया तो वो भी बैठ गया 60 is again mechanical in nature. It's your repetition ratio and percentage mixed question.
61 I would say PNC का क्वेश्चन है बट पार्टीशन चाहिए मेनली
In PNC we are used to a plus b plus c is equal to 7 ठीक है but we are not used to a plus b plus c is equal to 7 and 2 power of a plus 2b is a multiple of 8 so all you have to do is 9c2 करने के बाद from 36 you had to get rid of those cases where a plus 2b is less than 3
less than 3
and you will get
मेहनत है इसमें भी
मेहनत है but मेहनत है
62
62 is the question I told not today
हाँ बिल्कुल
because at that time I was question 60 I was left with around only 12 minutes in the paper I said 62 is not worth my effort right now
63
60 I looked at substituting some values कुछ बैठा नहीं तो मैं छोड़ दिया मतलब 8 दिख रहा था a into 2 power b is equal to 8 so कुछ 2 4 के हिसाब से मैं कुछ करने की कोशिश कर रहा था कुछ बैठा नहीं तो मेरे को लगा कि not worth it I left
64 में पहले 5 टर्म ऐड कर लो आंसर आ जाएगा
बस आ जाता है ये तो यार आई एम श्योर अब तक इनफाइनाइट सी सबको चमक गया होगा कि यही करना है जस्ट ऐड द फर्स्ट 5 6 टर्म्स
I added the first 4 terms I got rid of option 1 and option 3 still option 4 और option 2 बच रहे थे तो मैं कुछ कोशिश किया मैं फिर भी सोचा कि डिवाइड डिनोमिनेटर में 3 का मल्टीपल ही आना है either 4/3 और 11/9 either multiply this by 3 और multiply this by 3/2 see what we get मैं वो भी करने का कोशिश किया बट मेरे को कुछ दिखा नहीं I think 65 is standard value था I cursed myself after calculating it कि अरे यार ये तो these are standard value 10% rate of interest पे 33100 if that is your interest तो boss your EMI is 13310 the 11 cube right so after calculating I cursed myself कि ये मेरे को चमका क्यों नहीं याद क्यों नहीं आया but calculator use करके बहुत quickly हो जाता है I had that calculator handy throughout my attempt
this one
66 should be doable yani not very easy but should be doable
so by the time I reached 66 there were about 4 minutes left in the paper 4-5 minutes left in the paper and everything that I could do I had done already जो भी मेरे को चमक रहा था मैं कर दिया तो 66 I had no choice than doing it I realized p plus q by pq दिया है उसका और p minus q whole square पूछा है तो p plus q whole square minus 4pq करना है so I did it very bookish method नॉर्मली अगर जुगाड़ से करना होता तो मैं शायद गलत आंसर ही मार्क कर देता इसका p minus q whole square I could eliminate option 2 और maybe even option 3 but मैं शायद option 1 मार्क कर देता क्योंकि वो स्क्वायर है
इतना एक्चुअली चेक करना चाहिए किसी ने option 2 मार्क किया है क्या इसका because that is the first choice you should eliminate p minus q whole square cannot be a negative number
So I solved it completely. 67 and 68 I didn't get enough time to solve.
68 यार हो जाएगा but वो फॉर्मूला वाला क्वेश्चन है ना ये. The way I looked at this question was if I add the 3 terms I'll get x plus y plus z plus 1 by x plus 1 by y plus 1 by z. If I multiply all 3 of them I'll get x y z. इतना दिखता है but उसके बाद फिर मेहनत करनी होगी इसमें.
Correct. So 67 भी अपना टाइम स्पीड डिस्टेंस का क्वेश्चन है, बट यू विल हैव टू पुट दैट एक्स्ट्रा एफर्ट इन, एक्स्ट्रा लॉजिकल एफर्ट. ऐसा नहीं है कि तुमको मैकेनिकली आ जाएगा, लॉजिकली चमकना चाहिए क्वेश्चन 67. सो इट इज दैट काइंड ऑफ सेट. सो out of the last till 56, it was a smooth ride for me, where out of the first 8 odd questions I was able to solve 6 odd questions. But after that I found कि थोड़ा सा पेपर का लेवल ऑफ डिफिकल्टी बढ़ते जा रहा. लास्ट टू क्वेश्चन आई couldn't do. 66 के ऊपर भी, मतलब 61 to 66 I felt was the toughest lot of pool of 6 questions that I faced in the exam, जिसमें मेरे से ज्यादा हुआ नहीं, एक दो क्वेश्चन ही I could do. So that's where I felt I attempted 14 questions with two guesses, two जुगाड़ based, absolute बहुत भयंकर जुगाड़ based guesses. उनमें से एक सही हुआ, एक मेरा गलत ही हो गया. मतलब एक डायग्राम बेस्ड जुगाड़ था, मैंने डायग्राम में कुछ गलत कर दिया, right? So that's what I felt in this. So yes, anyone who scored more than 30 in this paper should be happy. I feel anyone who has scored more than 30 in this paper should be happy, irrespective of what the data says. So मतलब overall 39 पे है, 99, but if you have scored more than 30 in this paper, you should give yourself a star. अच्छा हुआ, अच्छा किया.
Give yourself a party for scoring more than 30 in this mock, and this is true. No, not overall, only in QA.
QA boss, QA में.
And overall 30 है तो अगले 2 हफ्ते की
Basically, if you have scored anything above 55-60 in QA and DILR taken together in this paper, then you are in a good shape.
मुझे लगता है कि 60 अगर इस मॉक में या पिछले मॉक में, if you are consistently having a score of 60-65 of both, दोनों का summation, either sometimes this section is easier, sometimes other section is easier. So अगर दोनों का summation 60-65 के ऊपर चल रहा है QA और LR का, it means you are on a good side. You will do great.
ठीक है, चलो. Any specific question, Shashank, you think we need to pick up? Yeah, by and large it's covered.
DILR stuck around 24 to 28 marks. Okay, and want to cross this mark. Okay, for QA getting around 24 in PYQ. I would say कि PYQ के स्कोर को ना कभी भी उस फेस वैल्यू पे नहीं लेना चाहिए. Actual score would be different. The thing is, आप साल भर जो पढ़ते हो, so you solve similar questions to PYQ. So PYQ का स्कोर मत देखो, मॉक्स वगैरह के स्कोर को देखो. So you are going to get a little different score there. So and even during practice, everyone solves a lot of PYQs. I've talked to a lot of students who scored 35 in 2023 slot 1, slot 2, but in the actual exam, no one was able to do it. So at this point of time, ठीक है, I say that solve PYQs as practice questions. Everyone must do it. That is must do. And apart from that, just go back to previous mocks. एक बार पुराने मॉक भी जाओ, देखो, वापस से करो, and I think that's good way to revise. And confidence उसी से आएगा.
See, I'll also say over the last 2 weeks, na, don't overdo things. कुछ नया मत पढ़ना. However, in Quant, one thing that I would recommend is this is a good time to have a formula cheat sheet. समझो I have not studied geometry, but geometry के अंदर थोड़े important formula मुझे जो पता है, वो एक cheat sheet, make it, mug it. In case one direct question or 2 direct questions come, जहाँ पे जो 3 variable चाहिए, तीनों given है, substitute, get an answer, move ahead. This might be a good time to have that formula cheat sheet in place. For example, area of a triangle multiple है, half base into height है, half AB sin theta है, SR है, ABC by 4R है. अब आपको तीनों साइड दे दिया and in radius दे दिया. You know it is direct application of a formula. Even if you've not studied, but you know the formula and you mugged it, you can directly apply, move ahead and get 3 marks. So my recommendation is, even if there are certain topics which you've not done too well, logs, I have not done logs. Log के 4-5 formula है. Log A plus log B is log AB. Log A minus log B is log A by B. Log B base A is equal to log B upon log A. A to the power of log B base A is equal to B. ये 4-5 formula मग कर लो. इनमें से कोई direct application है, at least get that right. This might be the right time to do something like that rather than getting into doing newer topics. मैं concept समझूंगा, time नहीं है. So that's the only thing that I would recommend additionally when it comes to quant.
And at this point of time, I would say कि chill रहना बहुत जरूरी है. Panic में score decrease ही होते हैं. Calm yourself, एकदम शांत रहो, ठीक है, खराब हो गया कोई बात नहीं. So under pressure, it's good to say that I perform well under pressure. Interview में बोलने के लिए अच्छी बात है. Exam में लोग नहीं करते.
Actually, Shashank, if we go ahead, we've got a few extra slides this time. If we just go ahead, I think they will be very relevant. Can you just move
this
ahead? Yeah, this slide. To all those who are thinking at this point in time कि मेरा क्या आएगा eventually exam में, what we've done is we've actually picked up the data of a few students. Obviously, I can't put the data of some 30,000, 40,000 kids here, but just a few students last year and their performance in the first few mocks and then their performance in the last few mocks. If you have a look at this, and then finally what they got in CAT 24, just have a look at this. Student 1 started at a 50 percentile. Last mock, CDC Pro 15 that they took last day, 89.6, ended up 99.97 in probably the top 50-60 students in the country. Similarly, student 2 started with an 83 percentile, ended with a 90, second last mock at a 75 percentile, got a 99.9. And similar is the case for a lot of students. So what Shashank was stating, ये जो अभी आप last 4-5 mocks लिखने वाले हो, they are not going to define how you score. They are not going to mirror what you score. But your reaction to those 4-5 mocks is very important. If you are going to get very annoyed or you're going to get very scared, you're going to get miffed and you're going to get worried, then this kind of a jump you will not see. On the flip side, if you state, यार it's okay, bad days आते हैं लोगों के, मेरे सारे bad days CAT से पहले निकल गए, so CAT has to be a good day, you might end up having a very nice day. Also, like I always state, उस 2 घंटे में अपना attitude simple होना चाहिए. I am a stud, मेरे से better कोई नहीं है. अगर ये सेट मुझसे नहीं हो रहा, ये क्वेश्चन मुझसे नहीं हो रहा, किसी से नहीं हो रहा, और अगर ये सेट मुझसे हो रहा है या ये क्वेश्चन मुझसे हो रहा है तो भी किसी से नहीं हो रहा, ये खाली मुझसे हुआ है. The attitude needs to be that. In those 2 hours, be haughty, it's okay. Don't be egoistic कि मेरे से कैसे नहीं हो सकता, वो मत होने देना. बट मेरे से हुआ तो मैं स्टड हूं, मेरे से नहीं हो रहा, किसी से नहीं हो रहा. Before those 2 hours, after those 2 hours, be as humble as you can. In those 2 hours, humbleness के मार्क्स नहीं मिलने वाले. ईगो को साइड रखना, बट बी हॉटी. साइड में मेरा एक कोई बैठा है, उसका VARC देख लिया, 20 ग्रीन दिख रहे हैं, अज्यूम करना कुछ नहीं आता था, सब सी मार्क किया उसने, कुछ नहीं आता था.
नहीं, अज्यूम करने की जरूरत ही नहीं, वही हुआ होगा.
So don't get overwhelmed on that day. That's the thing. And these are examples in front of you of students who did not get overwhelmed. They did not let the pressure affect them. They did not crumble like India yesterday. कि 124 भी चेज ना हो पाएगा, वो ना होने देना.
ये तो दिल से आवाज आई है गौतम के.
जब मुझसे पेपर नहीं होता था, when I am unable to solve 3 consecutive questions, 4 consecutive questions, मैं खड़ा होता हूँ अपनी सीट से, I go to washroom, I come back, look at the room, everyone, and half of the room is crying, more than half of the room is crying. ठीक है, so उससे थोड़ा कॉन्फिडेंस आ जाता है कि ठीक है, मेरा अकेले खराब नहीं हो रहा.
नहीं, शशांक, जब ये होता है ना, when you are not able to solve 3-4 questions back to back, you should be very happy because you have left the question, but बाकी लोग तो लगे होंगे ना, मेहनत कर रहे होंगे, लड़ाई कर रहे होंगे उस सवालों के साथ. So you keep moving on. So
बाकी
lots
सर
of-
वैसे
this
वैसे
happened to me
मेरे को
twice.
देख के और जीपी सर को देख के लोग ये भी सोच सकते, अगर उनको नहीं पता है हम कौन है, तो ये भी सोच सकते कि इतने बुड्ढे लोग अभी तक लिख रहे हैं कैट, इनका इतने सालों
अभी तो क्लियर होगा इनको.
तो
नहीं,
लोग
actually this happened to one of the colleagues. उससे बोल रहा था कि सर आप अपने बच्चे को छोड़ने आए हैं कैट के लिए, उससे बोला नहीं मैं खुद ही आया हूँ. So
I
this
see.
happened.
Aditi, acha, okay. I missed the last letter and I was
You
thinking
are
दोनों
not
same पे लिख दिया. Okay.
Baba, you are Baba.
सवाल.
वो ठीक है. I think Ria has pointed this out 2 or 3 times. Question 54 discussion के लिए, in case.
Question
Ravi,
54 is that I think it is that modulus वाला question जिसमें less than 5 वाला.
उसका ग्राफ पता होना चाहिए. If you know the graph,
या
it
तो
is.
ग्राफ पता है या फिर डायरेक्ट you can answer it, Priya. So how it goes is mod of x minus 3 plus mod of y plus 2 less than or equal to 5. What I'm saying is ignore the limiting points. मतलब 3 और 2 जो है ब्रैकेट के अंदर, उसको मारो गोली. Write it as mod of x plus mod of y is 5.
Equal to 5. That's it.
And you get 4 lines. Find the area enclosed by those. Or the direct formula for that is if mod of a mod x plus b mod y is equal to c, the area enclosed by it is 2c square by ab. Take a note of that. ये मॉड वाले क्वेश्चन एरिया वाले जब आते हैं तो फट से निकलते हैं. डोंट वरी अबाउट इट. और अगर आपको फॉर्मूला याद करना नहीं है, जिसमें मैं हमेशा कंफ्यूज हो जाता हूँ, मैं खुद कंफ्यूज होता हूँ, तो आई वुड सजेस्ट सिंपल 4 इक्वेशन खोल लेना. आपको ग्राफ मिल जाएगा. You will be able to solve.
Correct.
Yes, Yashwant.
Quant के लिए there are a couple of students who actually stated this कि mostly PYQs, mostly PYQs, mostly PYQs. ये PYQs करना is good, but stating mostly PYQ is what my preparation has been. That is a little. This is not a board exam. This is not DU either. कि खाली वो उठ के आ जाएंगे. It's a nice thing to do, PYQs, and it's an important thing to do. But assuming कि खाली PYQs को extensively मैं पढ़ूंगा, like I think Smart Pause stated that for QA I have focused extensively on QA PYQs. I don't know whether that will be the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do. All I will say is in the next 14 days, anyways, you can't do anything more. So what you've done, stick to it. Hope that a lot of similar kind of questions turn up. And like I stated, if there are a couple of topics here and there where you feel मैंने ज़्यादा नहीं किया है and I can mug up some 4, 5, 10, 15 formulae and that might help me, just make a formula notebook over the next 10, 12 days, go through it every day. Yeah, and that should hopefully be enough. Now, no point thinking about what I have done is enough or not. Like I stated, please think whatever I have done is more than enough. Perfect. Ravi, similar for I think DILR, if you want to pick this up.
See, Shivam, if you're getting only 10, 12 marks in DILR, first identify whether paper के बाद 3-4 सेट बनते हैं क्या खुद से. ठीक है, it's okay to have 1.5, 2 sets like this which are very difficult even after the exam, but 3 to 4 after the exam, are you able to solve? If that is the case, then your strategy, the way you are attempting the paper, the time you are spending on sets that you are not confident of solving or solving well, is being wasted in the exam. All you need to do is revisit that strategy. मतलब complete strategy change नहीं करना, but try to tweak it a little. Your first goal is to get those 18-20 marks that will land you in the 85th percentile zone. वो sectional cutoff निकलना चाहिए. If you are able to do after the paper, then Shivam, instead of finding the ones that you want to solve, because आपका जो call हो रहा है, judgment call, that is more likely going wrong at this point. So I would suggest go for those questions, मतलब find those sets जो आपको नहीं करने हैं. Go for the strategy of rejection instead of selection. Just in one odd sectional tomorrow maybe try it out कि आप पांचों सेक्शन पढ़ रहे हो, पांचों सेट पढ़ रहे हो, और कौन सा दो मेरे को करने का मन ही नहीं है वो उठा लो और उसको बाजू में रखो. बाकी तीन अपने आप करने पड़ेंगे. एंड देन यू गो विथ दैट काइंड ऑफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग.
Perfect. I think one last question which Akhil has been pointing out 2 to 3 times. Let's just pick that up. I was able to get 20 right when I did it at home, but in the exam I tanked and just scored 16. Keeps happening. Anything I can do to reach potential score before CAT? मेरा इसमें एक personal रहता है. I'll probably Ravi GP, in case you all could probably start with that, and I'll probably.
I didn't understand.
Basically फंडा वही औकात स्कोर के आसपास नहीं आ रहा.
20 राइट. ये बोल रहा है क्या कि मैं एग्जाम सेंटर में 16 किया और घर से जब टेस्ट लिखता था तो
नहीं, मॉक्स. आई थिंक वो बोल रहा है मॉक्स में ये हो रहा है, बट इन द एग्जाम बिकॉज वो बोल रहा है लेटर ऑन दिस कीप्स हैपनिंग. सो इज प्रॉब्ली स्टेटिंग मॉक में जब होता है मेरे को 16-17 मार्क की आए, लेकिन जब मैं बाद में तो मेरे को पता चलता है मैं 20 राइट कर पा रहा हूँ.
No, I don't think that is the point here. It's 20
Is
and
that what
16.
you're saying, Akhil? For QA, yeah. He's saying for QA, I was able to get 20 right when I did it at home, but in the exam I tanked. Yeah, he's saying yeah. So what I'm saying वही है.
20 राइट एज इन 20 क्वेश्चन राइट हो रहा है कि 20 मार्क्स आ रहे हैं घर पे.
20 क्वेश्चन राइट हो रहा है, 20 मार्क और 16 मार्क
क्वेश्चन हुआ है 16 और 20 नंबर में कोई खास फर्क नहीं, तो इट मस्ट बी 16 marks and 20 questions. That's an assumption.
20 questions at home. ठीक है. After the paper you are able to solve 20 questions. Very good. But in the exam you are only able to solve six questions net correct.
Yeah.
That is a huge difference यार. इतना difference तो नहीं आना चाहिए unless you are taking too much of time to solve each of the 6-8 questions that you have selected in the exam. Basically, if you are able to solve 20 questions without any help after the exam, that means that you are conceptually up there. आपको सब कुछ आता है almost. There are only 1 or 2 questions that are going to trouble you in the exam. So, उस केस में I think that is where the strategy of R1, R2, R3 is very important to my mind. कि डिपेंडिंग मेरे को आता है कि नहीं वो इम्पोर्टेंट नहीं है. मेरे को आता है तो मुझे ये पता है क्या कि कितना मेहनत लगेगा इसमें, कितना कॉम्प्लेक्स है, वो ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है इन द एग्जाम व्हेन यू आर सिटिंग इट. It's not that I can't solve a question of profit, loss and discount. It is about whether I want to solve this profit, loss and discount given that the complexity of calculation for this may be this strong, this may be higher. That is where when you read the question, you are able to get the logic of it. You are able to see that the calculation of it is going to be 2 steps, 3 steps, 4 steps. Solve it. If not, keep leaving them till the end. अगर टाइम मिले तो राउंड 2 में वापस आना. But if you get stuck at one particular set, one particular question in the exam, then you will never know. Because of ego, you will never know when you lost on a lot of time.
Yeah, just to add, if you spend 4-5 minutes in 4 questions, in 20 minutes, the max you can get is 12 marks. And those are the 4 questions. If you would have left, possibly you would have been able to do the rest of the paper completely. So the key thing in this paper is always going to be, are you choosing the right questions to attempt, or more importantly, are you choosing the right questions to leave? Because when you are willing to leave those easy, time-consuming questions or confusing questions, that is when you start doing well. Please remember, you only get marks for questions which you get right. And the more questions you need to get right means that you need to spend less time on questions. And you don't do that by speeding up. You do that by not attempting the difficult questions. If you are taking 20 minutes for 4 questions, those are the 4 questions you should not be attempting. So my suggestion, Akhil, is look at the last 5 marks for yourself. In each of the mock, see where did you waste time, which was the question you got stuck with, and should you have attempted those questions or not? And if not, what made you attempt it? And see at least that in the future, next 2-3 mocks which you are going to take in the next 10 days, at least don't make that mistake, so that when you go for CAD, you are in the right frame of mind.
Just one more thing I'd like to ask, and this is common across the board. I see Sumit is asking the same thing. Okaj score 25 hai, aata hai 5 to 15 ka range. Mukund is stating the same thing. Yes, in the exam and after the exam I'm able to do, but during the exam I make some errors. So I'm asking two questions I want to ask all of you all. One, घर में जब quant practice करते हो तो कब करते हो? किस time of the day? And second, just before that क्या किया होता है? मतलब समझो I practice it at 10 o'clock at night, तो 9:30 to 10 o'clock क्या करते हो? Can you answer these two questions? This is for Sumit, Madhav, Mukund, Akhil, and anybody else who feels that they face something similar in quant and maybe even in DILR. कि बाद में हो जाता है, सेक्शनल जब करता हो जाता है, घर में प्रैक्टिस करता हो जाता है, पर मॉक लिखने के टाइम उतना नहीं होता. And I see a difference. Mukund is saying, I relax just before that. Okay. What about the others? What time do you practice quant? And what do you do just before that? And 5 second और रुक जाते हैं just to see what others state. And then I'll state मैंने ये cube question पूछा बहुत specifically. So Riya is saying there is no fixed time for me, but okay. Sumit is saying morning. So let me take whatever it is. So somebody is saying morning, somebody is saying no fixed time, somebody is saying evening. My question is, morning after breakfast first thing, room पे practice fresh रहता है, ठीक है? I'm going to ask a very very simple thing. CAT में quant कब आता है? CAT में quant is the 81st minute of the paper. जहाँ DILR ने बैंड बजा दी है, जहाँ वर्बल में आपको समझ नहीं आया ये 2-3 आरसी क्या थे, ये वर्ड्स क्या थे, ये बोल क्या रहे थे. With all that baggage and with the fact that I have been preparing for the last 12 months, 18 months, 6 months, whatever, I hate the job I am in, I want to switch. I hate the line I am in, I want to switch. With all of that baggage, you are entering into the quant section, 81st minute. But when you are practicing at home, you are practicing with a fresh mind. Just before that, you relax. Just before that, you are chilling. You got up, you did it. तो उस टाइम जब जो आपको स्कोर आएगा घर पे वर्सेस व्हाट यू विल गेट इन द एग्जाम अंडर ऑल दैट ड्यूरेस स्ट्रेस एंड द प्रेशर दैट यू आर कैरिंग, क्या होगा? क्या होगा? So and this I'm going to state in jest, but I always state the best time to practice quant is right after you've had an argument or a fight with your boyfriend or girlfriend. Right after that, quant उठाओ, solve करो, देखो कितना हो रहा है. उतना ही होता है एग्जाम में, बिकॉज माइंड में उस टाइम और कुछ चल रहा है, सिमिलरली उस एग्जाम में चल रही होती है 7-8-10 चीजें. प्लीज ट्राई सिम्युलेटिंग. प्लीज डोंट डू क्वांट विद अ fresh mind. It will happen. It is but normal. So you are saying I don't have one. ठीक है, then fight with your mother, with your father, with your siblings, whoever affects you, with your best friend, and simulate, emulate.
But or you can watch highlights of the World Cup final also. वो भी चलेगा.
Yeah, absolutely. 19th November चला लो यार, और कुछ नहीं तो 2023. But yeah, so getting back to what we were stating, the funda is try simulating. By the time you reach quant, mentally you are exhausted and there are a lot of things going on and you're carrying the baggage of the other two sections. In your practice you're not. Try simulating that in your practice. 5-7 दिन देखोगे मार्क्स कम हो रहे हैं, and then suddenly वो बढ़ेगा and finally आपका एग्जाम में जाके you will see that. And I've been saying this for quite some time. I repeat the same. I hope this helps you all. But try simulating, because घर पे बैठ के जो मैं कर रहा हूँ versus जो कैट में आ रहा है वो फर्क होगा, हर इंसान के लिए होगा. It is not happening just for you. Even people who are scoring 45 in mocks might actually be scoring 55-60 when they are just practicing at home. उनके लिए भी हो रहा है, and those at different other score ranges उनके लिए भी हो रहा है. It happens for everybody. Yeah. एक लास्ट ले लेते जीपी, स्पेसिफिकली एड्रेस टू यू. बीके से है कि कौन DILR सही चल रहा है, वर्बल प्लीज बता दो क्या करूं, मेरा रेंज ऑफ स्कोर बहुत हाई है.
Yes, verbal क्या करूं? The question to me. My I can only share with you how I attempt the paper. What is it that is important for me? I'm possibly repeating myself for I don't know how many times I've already done it. Okay, so to me the question is always going to be in verbal. Am I wasting time or not? And again, I'm repeating myself. I know because Quant or DILR में भी यही बोला था. Okay? And I'll repeat, time wastage happens when we go deep into the question or try to understand each and every line and word of the passage. Based on whatever you have understood, just go and keep marking the answer and keep moving. Unlike Quant and DILR, where you can see the answer sahi hai ki galat hai, in verbal, you will discover the answer was right or wrong only later. Secondly, most of the time you will find that as far as verbal is concerned, spending extra time does not give you the right answer. It only confuses you. So either back yourself and say, okay, whatever I think is the right answer is the right answer and keep marking the answer and keep moving on. Or say, boss, I'm not sure about it. Keep leaving those difficult, confusing questions and keep moving on. As Gijo said, 8 marks in a passage is a very good attempt. Okay. 4 passages, 32 marks is a terrific attempt. 8 questions of verbal. Even if you forget about 4, even if you get 2 of them right, you will get to 40. So ultimately, it is only about attempting the easy question, whether it is Quant, DILR, or verbal. And especially because you appear to be someone who's struggling in verbal, just back yourself. And when you say your scores are fluctuating from single digit to 30 marks, just look at those papers where you got 30 marks and ask yourself what was your behavior in those papers. Were you leaving questions? Were you attempting everything? If you find that in those papers where you got good marks, you are attempting everything, that is what you should continue doing. When those papers you are being cautious and attempting only what you are sure of, that is what you should do. There's no hard and fast rule. Each one of us is a different individual and we'll behave differently. So based on what works for you, you just need to replicate that.
Perfect. So guys, a lot of questions on what to do over the last 10 days. My simple reco, you've got roughly 10 days because last 2 days, 28th, 29th, I would recommend don't take any mocks or anything. 10 days mein at max, you can probably write 5 mocks. I would recommend maybe 4. That's all. You don't need to do one DILR sectional every day. You don't need to do one VRC sectional every day. But yeah, what we meant by कि क्वांट को एंड में करना DILR को सेकंड करना was आप जब भी प्रेप कर रहे हो जो भी आप कर रहे हो से मैं टॉपिक टेस्ट कर रहा हूँ या मैं क्वेश्चन सॉल्विंग कर रहा हूँ 1 hour back to back something like that if you do it will hold you in good stead. Soumya, your question on time zone मैंने पढ़ा नहीं है time zone का set आ गया. Is it important from the perspective of CAT? We don't know what will be important, what won't be important. And हो सकता है next 3 mocks you write, you come across 2 more types of sets which you've not prepped. Up to you. I would not recommend newer things to be done, but time zone वैसे भी थोड़ा सा complicated है. लोग उसमें फंसते हैं. रवि आज तक फंस रहा है. रवि कह रहे हैं नहीं करना है मॉक में भी. तो I would state छोड़ना है छोड़ दो. Don't worry too much about things at this point in time at least.
I would suggest go through
unless
the
Ravi
videos.
states कि नहीं अब
I would suggest go through the video solution once. There are 3 very basic things that you can do in questions of time zone. I have listed those 3 also. I have told that कि यही होता है और कुछ होता ही नहीं इन क्वेश्चंस में. तो अगर आपको पकड़ में आया तो आ गया. एक बार पकड़ में आ जाएगा तो हो जाएगा. उसमें बहुत ज्यादा कुछ है नहीं फिर करने को. Right? So just go through it. You'll most likely understand what is happening. If you don't get what is happening, then इट्स ओके बिकॉज पेपर में ऐसा एक सेट आएगा जो आपको चैलेंज करेगा. वो हो सकता है वो.
Perfect. So that's it, guys. That's it from our end. This is the last CDC Pro of the. GP. I think you want to say something.
मैं think just कि बंद कर सकते हैं. Last paper हो गया है.
Yep. The last Pro of the year, the last live analysis of the year. Hopefully, you had a good season. Hopefully, all this results in a nice 30th of November for each of you all. We will meet you again for that final D-Day analysis now across the 3 slots. All the very best from our end. उससे पहले एक दो बार मिलेंगे. We have a couple of 2 to 3 very good, interesting sessions lined up for you all with a few of your seniors, alums who are currently studying at B schools and what they did over the last 1 week and how it helped them. Last minute tips from us and all other mentors. We'll catch you all for a couple of such sessions going forward. But till then, all the best to all of you all. Relax a little, don't stress too much. Overwhelm मत हो जाना. And like Sachin stated in the 2003 World Cup, मेरे को लग रहा था मेरा फॉर्म अच्छा है, मैंने प्रैक्टिस में जाके बहुत ज्यादा अपना फॉर्म वेस्ट नहीं किया. So don't over practice. You don't want to be in a situation where you state सारे अच्छे परसेंटाइल हाई परसेंटाइल मॉक में आ गए, the final day didn't go off too well. और इसका ये मतलब नहीं है कि एकदम पढ़ाई मत करो next 10 days either. So yeah, please find the right mix. Go ahead and do that. All the best from us. GP, Ravi, last words from your end.
नहीं यार कुछ नहीं है, just relax and focus on the paper. ठीक हो जाएगा यार. इतना इतना यार अगेन आई विल से कि यार कैट को ना इतना भाव मत दो. We tend to make a mountain of a mole out of a molehill. Ultimately, it's a very stupid, very easy paper where getting 30% marks gives you a 90 percentile. And into 30% marks getting into helps you get into a very good B school. And if you had 40%, 50% पे तो आयश होगी. I'm sure school, college में 40-50 पे होते होंगे. यहाँ पे 50% marks means you're among the toppers. So just relax and don't try to overachieve in the paper. Treat it like a mock and things should be fine for you.
All the best, guys. ज़्यादा कुछ है नहीं. See, GB showed GB sir showed कि there were students who got 74 percentile in the penultimate mock, ended up scoring 99.8 plus in the actual that. Right? So these stories happen every year. We see such stories every year, such wonderful, proud stories every year. Right? So as long as you think that good things will happen, good things will happen. Right? So it's your mind that is going to control how you are going to perform on that day. Just tell yourself, boss, you've got nothing to lose in the exam. VIRC में, for example, BK question VIRC में, the good part is you'll never know कि अगर आप गलत आंसर मार्क कर रहे हो, सही आंसर मार्क कर रहे हो. Just tell yourself you'll give your best attempt in the exam. Set. Just do your best. There's nothing else you can do in the last few days in the exam as well, right? So all the best to all of you.
All the best, guys.
And
Kshitij, relax. Want नहीं जा
and
रहा, ज़्यादा stress मत लो यार.
I would want to close with what Jijo always says every year. We don't want to teach you guys next year. So all the best.
Okay. So, bye. All the best. And you
Connotation
have my
समझ जाना
number.
भाई.
हाँ. I was just telling students, you have my number. कुछ होगा तो यार कल फोन पे फिर बात कर लेना. Okay then. Good night.